Welcome back, my gardening friends. Well, we're back in the fruit cage and it's time to feed the fruit bushes and blueberry plants. These are the log ashes. I'll collect these throughout the winter. So this is the potash content. I believe that's a little bit of biochar. Everybody keeps talking about biochar, but I don't think I'm going to be actually making any. So this is going to be added to all the bushes bar from the blueberries. For the blueberries we're going to be using an Acacia Compost. Now this is one that's got added ingredients ideal for that type of plant. So this will just be acting as a mulch. Some of the feed will be going into those roots that are really close to the surface, as we've spoken about before, and then we'll top dress them again in the spring. We just move on then to what I mulch the other fruit bushes, and this is 3-year-old wood chips. So if you compare that to reasonably fresh wood chips, there's the difference. You can probably see that anyway, but this will go in the paths. The 3-year-old wood chips, which are in the paths anyway, but this is what I dug up because of my new raised beds. This is just an ideal material. It's got no weeds in it as such, and it does help mulch over the winter months. So let's go to the blueberries first. Yeah, we've spoken before about how close the roots are to the surface, so I don't like touching it too much. Pull the odd weed out, but those weeds aren't going to hurt. And it just looks pleasing to the eye. Just got to make sure I've got enough to do the whole lot. I've got 4 plants, and then I move to the rest of the areas. With the three-year-old wood chips, and it just looks so much nicer after we freshen it up. So that's all the blueberries done, and so it just looks really nice. So we'll move on now to the gooseberries and the currant bushes, and we'll get some log ashes down and then top off with some the 3-year-old wood chips. So I'll get quite a good stock of this over the winter months, and you'll see me using more of it on the raised beds. Now the log ashes need to be dry for them to be any use when you use them. You mustn't let them get wet until they're actually applied. So I've got plenty of wood chips. and I'll probably keep the cage door shut now because the birds will be in here to pick off any of the worms, which there are loads, till the worms bury themselves. So we'll start it and do a pause and record now on the rest. And now let's get some wood chips down to finish it off. So that's another job done. That's going to prevent the weeds growing, and I can keep on top of any that do. And you can see the transformation there from the 3-year-old leaf mould to the Ericaceous Compost. And it's just nice to get all the paths done. It's been far too wet to get that rhubarb out, so that's staying there. I'm not going to be silly and try and do anything daft. In the middle of the screen, they're the 2 cuttings that I took from the white currants. I've put them in there, out the way. It was a bit of a rush job. I've not moved them, so they can stay there. I've, as you know, took out the black currant bush and I've replaced it with one of the layered gooseberries. There's one more just here, couldn't find it for a moment, and I'll remove that one possibly in the spring, and we'll see what we've got that we've already potted up in a previous video from the cuttings we took in 2018, and see what we need to put here to replace the rhubarb. So using wood chips for the paths, they compost down, and the ones at the bottom I can top up every year. The ones at the bottom then turn into this material, and I can use it around the allotment. I do recommend it. It's a good weed suppressant, and if you put it 6 inches to 8 inches deep, only the real good weeds push through. And I just want to show you something. So this is the compost bin that all the spent compost that cannabis growers unscrupulously dump at the side of the road, and I've emptied it out. And we talk about suppressing weeds, and these are raspberries, and they got all the way up to here. Now look at them. Now that's just a wee bit of a root, and look at that, it's already started to grow. And moved it to here in the middle bay of the triple compost bin, and I'm absolutely sure that some of those roots are going to shoot now and come out of into this one. But lesson learned, I should have lined it properly at the bottom. So this is some of the compost that I get off the side of the road. It's very, very wet. It's got perlite in it. It's doing its job. It's holding the moisture. So I've been mixing it 50-50 with the compost out the bin we've just seen. So we end up with that material, which is slightly different to the cocoa coir in this bay. I'm trying to keep it all separate. A few weeds won't hurt. This is probably the worst on the top, but no, pleased with that. And we'll move on to a mail call just while we can. Now, I did mention it in a previous video, Steve's Allotment, he sent me some of these potatoes, name's gone for now, and then some pepper seeds or whatever seeds, not sure, but he's left me a nice little note there. And Tony from A Little Farmer's Farm, Guru Mafinda as he previously known. And here we've got some spaghetti squash. We've got some Blue Lake French beans, which I haven't got. The Wigan Giant pumpkin. I've got some Wigan Giants. And some of the purple beans, Climbing French. And look at his lovely labels that he's made. He's took the time to make them look nice. And oh, Robocrop, what you got in your little box protecting? Oh, you've got a little wee carrot. That was from Marie Curry. He's keeping an eye on it, Marie. and I am finding all sorts in there. And we've got another letter from Tony from the Little Farmer's Farm. Pleasant reading. Thank you very much to both of you, and another thank you to Phil, who sent me some of the giant onion seeds. He hasn't got a channel, but he's a regular viewer of mine, so thank you. Now, I was going to have me spent compost in one bin, but me spent potato compost, which is in bags scattered, there's my finger, scattered all over the place, and then I wanted to put my leaf mould in the other bin, but I've only got, I've got 3 wheelie bin fulls, so I think I'm going to make half bin, because I don't want them sitting there lost, because I will be using them straight away. So as soon as I get a bit more room, I will get that done. The extensions on the leaf bin, that's this year's leaves. Last year's leaves are settling down nicely now, and because I've filled all those bins, I've started to get my allotment back. That's all the 3-year-old wood chips, still got plenty of that, but that will go into one of the new raised beds as back to Eden, topped off with fresh wood chips, just to see how everything goes on. And we've still got lots of bags there. All that has got to fit into that double pallet bin that I first showed you. And thank you to everyone who's put a little bit towards a new landscape rake. I'm almost at my target, and when I do purchase this, I'll make an announcement and thank everyone. I'm hoping to keep the videos coming. There is lots of things we can do on the allotment, and it is well worth just keep pottering about doing a few jobs. And I've laid some cardboard out and some wood chips here just to help get me up and down, because it's like a mud bath. Still got to tie these broad beans up. I keep forgetting. Silly me. I hope I'll give a few of you a wee bit of inspiration. And don't forget, why not check out my playlists? I've got monthly playlists, so you can see what I was doing in 2017 in a particular month, 2018, all this year, and then there's specific playlists for certain subjects. So why not have a little look? It seems everyone else is looking at who's watching what videos. So if you've liked the content today or any other day, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, and comment please. Likes and comments all help grow my channel, and thank you to everyone who supports me by watching from the start all the way to the finish. It helps me buy a few things. Happy gardening to you all. Till next time, my friends. Ta for now. And don't forget, pop across to see Steve's Allotment and the Little Farmer's Farm and have a look at their content, and maybe consider subscribing.